Welcome in, everybody. It is another episode of Scarves and Spikes.
What's up?
It's a very special one.
Very
Happy
special.
Anniversary.
Yes.
Gentlemen. How are y'all doing?
Thanks for watching and listening. It is our first anniversary show. It's not our first anniversary exactly when we're doing this, but we are celebrating today. So thanks everyone for listening. It's been a great year, and the best is yet to come.
Tommy, what's up?
Tommy, you can.
We're a week late. We're a week late. I mean, you know, I've forgotten our anniversary a couple times.
With that far along in the marriage?
It was a week. It was a week ahead. Actually, we got married on 7/7/7. It was really hard to forget the anniversary, but I've done.
Yeah, you forget that one, man. It's not going to be a good day.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we have a big show planned today. There's a lot of news going on. First of all, around Atlanta United, around MLS, it's transfer season, aka silly season. So there's plenty to talk about. Signing today. Well, not the signing didn't happen yesterday, but we got stuff to talk about from yesterday with training at Mercedes-Benz. And we're gonna be doing something a little special later. If you look over my shoulder,
what are we doing later?
There is a ball sitting there that is signed by none other than
we're giving that away?
Hugo Torres.
Don't even get me started.
Surprise.
You know, Tom
just kidding.
Guess who Tom mentioned earlier? Jurgen Damm. We're already one up on Jurgen Damm today.
Well, we should mention too that we have Tom Bogert. Well, not live.
Yeah, I'm getting there. So Tom Bogert is coming on in a little bit. We got Tom Bogert doing his transfer news, everything going on with him. And then we're gonna be giving away a Giakoumakis signed ball. And
yes, we will.
Tommy, there are some things happening with our Patreon that involve giveaways and everything else. You want to let everybody know what's up?
Yeah, if you sign up for Patreon, you get to meet Jurgen Damm. No, we're not doing that? Are we not announcing that part yet?
No, we discussed this. We're not doing it.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I know you're trying to make that happen, but
I've said too much. That's the highest tier, the Jurgen Damm tier.
Yes.
We'll get there. So if you're new here, we've gotten a lot of new listeners coming into the new season. Tell you about our Patreon, everything that we do here. We have a Discord where we've got a growing community out there. We discuss things, Atlanta United, video games, sports, anything that you want to talk about. We have it in there throughout the season. Tyler and Sydney will be up at training, posting their thoughts after speaking with the players immediately. We have watch-alongs, which is my favorite thing that we do for road games, 1 or 2 a month. You can hop on a Zoom with us, and we all get together and watch a game, yell, scream, do shots, whatever you want to do with us. You get discounts on our merch. We launched our merch shop last week. Thank you to everybody that has purchased merch for us. We also have contests, and you could potentially get some extra entries if you are a patron. And we've got another big drawing next week. We don't have it to model, but Tyler is basically wearing what we'll be giving away. We have a 17s kit.
Yes.
I'm not going to model.
The size of your choice, right?
Size of your choice, yeah. I don't know what size they come in,
contest.
Size of your choice.
Back-to-back weeks, we have awesome contests. So if you're a patron, you'll automatically be entered. You'll get some extra names in the pot. It's exciting. We're full go this season, right? Are you giving away some awesome stuff? So join the Patreon. We're gonna have some fun this year. And if you don't know, this isn't Patreon news, but if you don't know us, or if you didn't know, the three of us do the Dirty South Soccer Spaces, which we miss. I actually miss the yelling and the celebrating and people yelling at us. How Boca out, Boca in, Pineda out. We're the guys that do Spaces. So if you are just joining us and you've hopped on our Spaces before, this is us. So come hang out with us after every game as well. That's a big fun thing it's how we got started.
Can I ask a question?
2 years ago. Sure.
How do people sign up for Patreon?
Patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes.
Yes.
I know this.
Took
me forever. I always said OnlyFans because I put those things as the same thing.
Sydney, what else we got going on in the world of Scarves and Spikes?
Our website. We have a store, I should say. We have scarvesandspikes.etsy.com. We have hats, we have sweatshirts, we have glasses, we have the whole 9 yards. So if you want to support us, support your favorite Atlanta United podcast, go to scarvesandspikes.etsy.com and get yourself some merch. We have our website, scarvesandspikes.com. We have some articles up there, original content for you all to read about Atlanta United. We have our social media. We're on X at Scarves and Spikes. Scarves and Spikes on Instagram. Scarves and Spikes on Threads. And Facebook.com/Scarves and Spikes. So we are everywhere.
Remember we were on Mastodon for like 6 days?
What's Mastodon? No,
I don't know. You signed us up for it, but it was like a 6-day. We were there. We were one of the original people.
Cameo appearance.
Testing the waters.
So we have, first of all, I got to shout out the Edgar versus Ariel battle going on in the chat. I'm curious to see how this plays out through the next hour or so. And then I got to give a quick shout out as we get people trickling in and everything. I like food, right? We all like food. Tommy, me and you have had many discussions about food. That was a terrible segue, but I have a reason behind it. I also am a nerd, so I like Dragon Ball. And I know some of y'all in the chat like it. Some of y'all are like, what is Dragon Ball? I just found out that there is a pho place in Norcross, so just north of Atlanta, it's a Dragon Ball Z themed pho restaurant. So it's called Super Banh Mi Pho. Yeah, I just put pictures up earlier on my Instagram just because I thought it was amazing. It was really, really cool. And the food, like, even if you don't care about Dragon Ball, the food was freaking phenomenal. So for all you local Atlanta folks that are listening, like if you want to go to a really good restaurant, Super Banh Mi Pho up in Norcross is off the chain.
Not sponsored.
I just thought it was that good.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know, right?
There's a really good pho place in oh my gosh. I forget the name. The big mall where the park's on the top that you can go play games.
Ponce City?
Yeah, Ponce has a really good pho. But they automatically put jalapenos in. And they did not tell me. And here in Ohio, I guess that's not a normal thing, but down south, it's a thing. And I had it, and I tread lightly on it because I knew it. But my buddy grabbed it because he thought I was throwing away the pho. Because you can't throw all this pho away, and you started chugging it. He was like 7 to 8 beers in. Tyler, you know who I'm talking about. And
I don't.
As he's chugging the pho, his eyes light up, and he just starts going, ah! The lady behind the counter was laughing her ass off. Random story, but since you brought up pho, in Atlanta, I had to bring that up. That was one of my great experiences.
Apparently, it's pho.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it.
You know what?
Pho.
We're in an age over the past 3 weeks with all these transfers, and now you're correcting me my pronunciation of Vietnamese food. It's
the one that alienated our listeners.
Yeah, sorry guys. Bruno, I want a contest where Tyler comes, cooks, and smokes in my house. We can do that. I'll make that happen.
That's the $500 Patreon tier.
Just pay for the ingredients. I'll come do it.
Yeah. We got a lot to talk about.
We have
defer to you.
We have plenty. So the big news today, right? And we're gonna chat about this for a little bit. Bartosz Slish is the newest Atlanta United player, the newest 5-stripe. Got announced officially today. We knew it was coming, especially after Bocanegra's comments yesterday. And of course the the stream of rumors and things on Instagram and everywhere else. But you got your number 6, you got your midfielder that has been rumored for weeks now. On top of the depth that you've got with Dax McCarty, suddenly that position's looking pretty solid. So what do y'all think? Where are we at?
Well, excuse me, I just cleared my throat in an open mic, so I apologize.
It's a great way to start.
Yeah, off to a great start tonight or today. So the one thing that caught my eye, and we'll kind of hit on this probably, is the terms of the deal. So obviously, Atlanta doesn't announce the exact contract number per their policy, but the thing that got me about this deal is a 5-year deal. So you look at Gregerson was signed for 4 years straight up. Slish is signed for 5 years straight up, and it just says that they believe in his abilities and they believe in him, that he can be a long-term player for Atlanta United. Club has kind of hinted at, look, we want to bring in players. The buy low, sell high kind of deal that we did early on in our existence is kind of out the window. We want to get to a place where we're making more long-term investment in players that can be here for a while instead of looking to flip assets. So I think Slish is certainly part of that, and especially with this 5-year deal, and like I said, Gregerson for 4 years. This is a sign that they're looking to do that, and we talked to Tom about it, and we'll hear from him shortly. But this is a player, judging from what I've heard, what I've seen, kind of the highlights. We don't have too many highlights of him, unfortunately, but just kind of based on what I've seen from him, what I've heard from him, this could be a very impact player for Atlanta United in that midfield pairing with Muyimba, and a big part of that spine that Garth Lagerwey likes to talk about so much, and just the importance of that, considering this team has leaked goals over the past couple of years. So long story short, I like it. I think it's a great get for Atlanta United. Have to see what the budget number ultimately ends up as. I think it's reasonable. I'm just judging from what the trajectory this club has gotten since Garth has gotten here. So certainly think it's manageable. They're not throwing like $1 million or something like that here. I think we said we'd be comfortable with what, mid-10 or high-10, right? Is that what you said about Slish? Just kind of the number. So I think mid-high 10.
And everything
very
points to
reasonable
him
for
being of that caliber player too.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm sure many teams would probably pay him DP money, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
Or at least from what we've heard, but you got him for not being a DP. So I think that's great.
And maybe Atlanta United would be one of those teams who would pay him DP money in pre-Garth. So I like the deal. Good that he's finally been announced. It's just a matter of if, or a matter of when at this point. Zilf saying in the chat and taking Slish's left leg for Remedy and Carmona. So yes,
Tommy, what you
fan of the deal? Tommy, what do you think?
I love Zilf. Just this time of the year, right before the season starts, when it's you guys tried to steal his gimmick that saying announce Slush today.
Oh, we did.
It was not
that was us.
No,
that was one of us.
I knew it was one of you. It was not me. I wasn't going to steal his thing. If you went into this offseason disappointed on how the season ended and said, I'm not sure where this club's going from here, you cannot be disappointed on all the results that you've seen this offseason. They have went out and have tried to make the best starting lineup that they can. I think depth is still a concern at certain positions, right? But other than that, I think that you're in really good shape. And last year we talked about this at points, right after the transfer window. Like, this is one of the best starting lineups, and we just improved that way more. You don't have Osetu out there anymore. You don't have, I know Sosa really wasn't playing, but you don't have to have him, Ibarra, none of that. You've got pretty much across the board your best lineup that you possibly have ever had starting. And that's good news. Now, you don't know who's the starting keeper. That's still going to be up in the air. Brad did show up for camp. That was, people were talking about that. Was he going to be there? He's here. He's definitely here. But I mean, there's not much that you can look at across the board and be like, yeah, Atlanta United's not going to be extremely better. Like, this is Pineda's team, and if he can't excel with this, then we're going to go find someone that can. I'm not worried about it, but, on my Patreon, hot takes or whatever, I think we get back to exactly where we were in 2017 and 2018, and I think it was 70 goals for and 40 goals against. Like, if you do that, you should be finishing top 3, top 4. Easy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's interesting you say, talking about the starting lineup being probably the best they've had. So you're saying better than 2018?
That was my hot take.
Oh, that's your hot take.
That's part of my hot take.
I still haven't listened to your guys yet.
Oh,
well, that was mine.
Surprise. I think so. I think that I think this lineup can really do it. I mean, we haven't seen it there, but if you look at the potential there, and then even just look at what they're paying some of these players, or at least what we have, like, it feels like we're in really good shape financially that you can go out and still get more if you need in the summer, see what you have. And like, we'll talk about it at some point. I don't know if we'll get to it today, but there's still some concern about the U22 spots, and we'll whatever. I mean, this is a good conversation today. I think we should be talking about all the happy things of it, but there's still some stuff that needs to get cleared up in the next few windows, right? But I think we're in great shape.
Yeah, and you've got depth, right? Like, there's some depth. Maybe we've talked about spots
at certain positions, sure.
Yeah, you'll hear from Tom as well, because Tom had some thoughts on the depth. But while we're speaking of Slish, you got to think, like, this entire thing is an overhaul, right, of last year essentially, and it kind of segues into. We're not going to spend time talking about it because we've mentioned it, but it became official, like, I don't know, 2 hours ago, at least from one club, that Santiago Sosa's loan to Racing is complete. So he's down there. So there's one of your number 6 is gone, right? Yeah. Miranda asking, do people like the Dak signing? I've seen some mixed feelings about it. We kind of hit on it last week, but now that Slish is here, what do y'all think about that kind of duo in terms of, like, one that's been around MLS, he knows the league, knows the game, and you've got a young guy with a lot of talent that by all means is mature beyond his years, and he's coming from a very winning club.
That's why Dax is here, right? I mean, behind Slish on the depth chart, obviously Slish is going to get the start at 6, but you have Dak behind him, and like you said, you just said it, veteran player who is a winning player at MLS, hasn't won MLS Cup. I think he understands that at this point in his career, this is it. This is his last chance, and kind of talking to or hearing from Ben Wright. Yeah, Ben Wright and Nashville, writes for MLSsoccer.com and Broadway Sports up there in Nashville. He wanted to stay in Nashville. Dax did, but ultimately the club parted ways with him. Now here he is in Atlanta. So again, a very good deal, I think. And Better Heron saying in the chat, Dax is a pest. I feel like he's one of those players, like, you absolutely hate him if he's on another team, but if he's on your team, you love him. So now he's on Atlanta United side, I should say. You have him, you have Schlish behind him, you have Muyumba at that 8 position. You have a really good midfield, and this is what projects to be a very good midfield. This is without seeing what Schlish can do. And he could be great. He could not be great. Hopefully he is great, but I feel very optimistic. Tommy, I know you said you wanted to keep things positive and on the plus side. I feel optimistic about this deal.
100%. My 1:30 in the morning mini drink dial to Tyler was, Dax McCarty, I hate his face. I hate his stupid face. And then I was like, the next day I was like, I love Dax McCarty. This guy's great. He wants
Favorite
to be
player
here.
In MLS.
Yeah, you hate, especially you get this in hockey, like enforcers, because they're the guys that are in charge of beating your player up, right? And then when he gets to your team, you're like, yeah, you go beat everybody else up. That's how I feel like Dax is to me. Is like, he's kind of the enforcer. But leadership, I think everybody's talked about who's the leader in this group. You don't need one leader. I think you need a lot. And yeah, you've got your veterans. You've got Brad, you've got Dax, and then your start Brooks Lennon, Giakoumakis. So you've got an older leadership group, and I think you've got the younger leadership group that are going to help out going in the future.
And
Absolutely.
then just bringing back to Slish real quick. I had a hot take. I'll kind of spoil it, but my hot take is, and this is a hot take. Just relax, everybody. I think he could be within the running for MLS best 11. That's a hot take. I'm not saying it will happen, but just to kind of throw it out there.
I mean, to piggyback on that, when you've got a team that up until this season, right? Like the number 6 position, that defensive midfielder, was one that you really, really needed some help in. You've got the really good team around him. Now, I don't think he's going to be getting the minutes over. Well, you're talking about Slish, absolutely going to be getting the minutes, but the 6 is one of those positions that you don't want to have to focus on, because if you do, usually it's a bad thing.
Right. Exactly.
But the rest of the team will make your number 6 look really good. And your 6 will make the rest of your team look really good. So yeah, I mean, if you get him in and he becomes a game changer immediately, which, we're not going to know any of this until opening day, but by all accounts, he's the guy. And yeah, I mean, I don't think that's too far-fetched. It's not a little hot takey, but that's not far-fetched.
Okay.
I don't disagree with
it. Good. I'm not alone.
All right. So Slish is here. Welcome, Slish. We also got to officially meet and hear from another player, another new player yesterday. Up at the Bins, training was yesterday's first open training day for media. Stian Gregerson, that is the pronunciation, by the way. We verified that. He told us himself. Stian Gregerson. And also just everything going on with preseason yesterday. Bocanegra talked to the press. Giakoumakis talked to the press. But it all started with Stian. And I know, Sydney, you weren't able to make it out for this one. I think you said you'll be there Friday at the training ground.
Hopefully.
But yeah, hopefully. I know the feeling. Here's the thing. We'll jump on the Bocanegra comments and everything else in a minute. But Stian, one thing that I thought was really interesting, he pointed out very specifically what his strengths are. A lot of times when you get a new player that comes in and everybody asks like, oh, well, like what do you bring to the team? What are you good at? Right. A lot of times you get like a generic answer, but he was not generic at all. He was like, no, my 1v1 defending, and my pace, which, we've mentioned the pace before, because we've all seen his videos where you look at just how quick this guy is, and he's freaking tall, but he has no business being that fast. But he was very specific about like what he brings to this team as a leader, communication wise, everything. And I was really impressed with just kind of his demeanor. I think he's going to be a really good addition. And I don't want to call him the Miles replacement anymore. I mean, I know that's kind of what he is, but like, I have a feeling he's going to come in and he's going to do his own thing, and he's going to have his own bit of a legacy here.
That's kind of, now that you said that, that's kind of my worry, that people will always hold him up to Miles as, is he good as Miles? Is he better than Miles? I feel like he's going to have
though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, but
you get over that quick.
Yeah, you do. But I feel that you're gonna have to see the same thing with I almost said Miles. The same thing with Stian. He's gonna have to prove himself, pretty much right off the gate. Giakoumakis did that for the most part. He was able to prove himself almost immediately and almost won Golden Boot in 2023. I feel like the margin for error based on who was there before him, and granted Miles wasn't the same or isn't the same after his Achilles injury. I mean, we can all agree on that, but I think that Stian is going to have a small margin for error, literally, and James saying in the chat, Gregerson will be miles clear of him.
Whoa.
Anyway,
no, I get what you're saying, though.
Good effort. But yeah, you guys get it. I think the microscope will be on him, at least early on this season, as far as his performance is concerned. And considering this back line, and we said it time and time again, just been very leaky.
Right, and Miles, that's the good news for Gregerson, right? Miles wasn't very good at the end. He started the season really hot. I think we all had very high hopes for Miles, in the first 3 games ish. And then it went downhill. But now, he's got help too. So it's not just going to be him there. Like he's got a 6 to help, right? And you could say that Miles didn't really have a lot of help back there either. So it's going to be a combination. And I don't think we're going to be talking about an individual. Abram, Gregerson, Schleich, all of them. I think it's just going to be a unit. I think you really need to put them all together. Now, unless someone keeps making crazy individual mistakes like Miles was doing quite a few times at the end of the year, then I think you're okay. I think that it's not going to be a problem. And then you've got other depths too. I mean, you brought in other depth at the center back position as well. So if one struggles, then, you can bring someone on. If Abram's not great, Williams, right?
Yep, Derek Williams.
So you've got Williams as well to be able to come in and help out if things aren't working out. So the combinations will be interesting to see. But luckily, there's not a lot of congestion. We're not in any extra games as everyone else is, so we can take our time here and not have to really work on getting the chemistry going with basically the entire back line.
And I saw, I think it might have been Travis in the chat. Somebody asked in the chat how long he was signed for. He's through 2027 with an option for 2028. Slish is just straight up through 2028, which very impressive. And we kind of said it in our chat earlier, Sydney, but you were saying it's a far cry from the contracts that were previously being given out, right? Like you're looking at long term, like they're building for the long term. But I don't think you're taking as much of a gamble, right? Because you're going after players that have proven themselves. That's Garth's MO.
Yeah.
Going after players that you're going to have value, right? So it's not like you're worried that even if they have a rough, year or they have an injury like Miles did, you still got them for long enough that you're still going to have value in them in case you do have to move on at one point.
Yeah, these aren't kids. I mean, Lish is 24, but he's been around for a while. Gregerson's 28, which is a veteran in footballing years. But these aren't. I mentioned it already. We'll probably talk about that when we go to Boca Negra's comments. But he mentioned on 929, I said it earlier, kind of like that buy low, sell high is maybe not completely out the window, but it's kind of been de-emphasized under Garth Lagerwey. So Gregerson, it looks like a very good signing, and Slish looks like a very good signing. And then Williams, we talked about him just briefly. Could be a good under the radar signing. Cohen, experienced keeper. They're not superstars that they're bringing in, right? They're not these South American players of the year or European players of the year or whatever. These are pieces to a puzzle that can contribute, and that's what I like about this winter window, I think.
Yeah, and after we talk about this, I'd recommend anybody go to 92.9's podcast that they have, because they have all the interviews. So Brad Guzan hopped on, Boca hopped on, Garth Lagerwey, which was my favorite one. He came on and talked for a little bit about the philosophy. So I would go listen to all 3 of them because they're great. And then YouTube, Atlanta United's YouTube has, Giakoumakis, Boca, Gregerson, like all these interviews. So you got us, you got all the different interviews on all the different outlets. It's overload. It's overload season.
Yeah.
And we're still a month away from the first game.
A lot of options out there.
Always come here. Just saying.
Yeah, we'll tell you the good ones to listen to. The other ones.
Yeah.
So highlights. Talking about Boca Negra, highlights from yesterday, and y'all, because I think y'all both seen the press conference, and I know we've all talked about it. So, if there's anything specific that I missed or that y'all want to, punch in there that Boca Negra said yesterday, because it was a lot. It was about a little over 20 minutes of questions yesterday. Long. So, but the first one is since been done. We talked about it. Bartosz Slisz. That was kind of, he implied it was happening yesterday. We all knew who it was. Well, it's happened. So chalk that one up as done. But then he said that the team is also looking at one more signing after that potentially to quote unquote round out the squad.
Fullback
Take
depth.
that for what it means or what it's worth or whatever you want to take it for.
Fullback.
You're getting down. Kubo
We go
Torres.
again. Three times. Is that 3 or 4?
If you say Kubo Torres 3 times in a mirror in the dark, he comes back and doesn't score a goal.
Wow. God almighty.
Thomas
Taking
not us.
strays on this podcast, man.
know.
From Tommy. Tommy, Kubo, he lives in Cleveland. I'm just letting you know.
Oh,
Come on
What's that
down.
thing?
You can hang out.
Go get a
He's
beer.
in Orange County. I know that. I follow him. He started scoring
I don't
goals as
think
soon as
he's
he
there
left here.
anymore. I thought he transferred again. I could be wrong.
Whatever.
I
got bored of him. Stop following him.
One other thing that was said kind of during that little bit from Bocanegra about this presumed other signing, though, was he mentioned that they're pretty much going to be done with the whole visa thing, right? With Gregerson and Slish, which is going to be great because then you don't have to have that dreaded like, oh, are we going to have this player available by day one?
Exactly.
Hopefully it doesn't come to that. It doesn't look like it's going to. But if you take what he said about one more signing and then you add in that whole visa thing, you got to imagine this is going to be somebody, if it's either American that's been in MLS for a while, been around the league for a while, whatever. You can take a lot from it, but I think it narrows it down a little bit. And then you add in the depth. What depth does this team need? And we've talked about it, but I think we're all in agreement. I don't know, but fullback.
Yeah.
So some people say striker. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, we have a striker. We have TRA behind Giakoumakis. I don't think we need another
Yeah.
one.
So we'll see. Hopefully it's sooner than later.
Almada.
Again.
You need some. I think you need a little bit of help there.
Yeah.
Well, not yet. I think, but
What do you mean not
could
yet?
talk about it. Well,
But we've watched the international windows. When Almada's gone, we're useless.
I
Do you remember the Columbus game? Do you remember two out of the
Yes, I
3
remember.
Columbus games without him?
Remember.
I have
I think
nightmares of those games.
I think it'll be fullback depth.
Tommy
That's
has
what I think.
PTSD.
But yeah, that's my thought.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Don't
But
you have Aiden McFadden?
you do have a
but I don't know. I don't know if he comes back. We'll see.
And Ronald Hernandez. He's there, right? I saw
Yeah.
him.
Well, I'm going to hit on Ronald here in a second. And Parzival saying in the chat, they announced the signing today. Just to clarify, this is after Slish. This is not
Different
Slish. There's another one allegedly coming, supposedly happening. We'll see. All right. So segue into Ronald Hernandez. Ronald Hernandez has received his green card. So that's an international slot that you don't have to worry about. And Edwin Mosquera is a couple of weeks away from getting his as well. So there's
Good
2
stuff.
spots. It also says a lot, I think, about what Atlanta is trying to do with Edwin Mosquera. Looking at a
Think he's-
U22, I mean, you're not going to go get a green card if you don't expect to be here for a minute,
He'll
right?
be around for a while. Based on that, you're right.
Who would have thought
4 years.
a year ago?
Exactly.
A year ago today.
Exactly.
Where like he's never playing. Nobody comes back, from loan hardly, when you're not wanted and come back and play. Next thing you know, he's our secret weapon, our super sub, right?
Hey.
Just scoring bangers. He's on there for 35 seconds, goal.
I'll take it. I'll take it all day. That dude is
This
fast.
is what we wanted Eric Lopez to be.
Too bad.
We're just bringing up
Dang,
all
you're
old
just
names.
going
See,
through all
every
of
time I
them.
bring up an
Going
old,
through-
every time I
History
bring up
of
an old
LA
name,
United.
Dom Dwyer comes into the chat. Breck Shea. This is sorry, everybody. This is my fault.
It's all Tommy's fault.
Yes.
Loans of Santiago Sosa, which I just mentioned. So, I mean, they, again, not made officially official by Atlanta United, but Racing Club did it.
Racing announced.
And Boca said it basically yesterday, but also Franco Ibarra. God, Bubbles, Miguel Berry. Say
Miguel Berry is not coming back. He's
not coming.
Miguel Berry signed a 30-year contract with the LA Galaxy.
lifetime contract with the LA Galaxy.
Or 2, whatever.
Whatever. They don't. So Santiago Sosa and Franco Ibarra being loaned out. This is where this is going to break Atlanta United Twitter and social media, I think. But Santiago Sosa and Franco Ibarra's loans do not open up those U22 spots. That is what Boca said. I don't know. Don't ask me how. Nobody really knows how this whole thing happened with Edwin Mosquera last year when they kind of had like 4 U22s on the roster. I don't know the rules that in depth, but something happened.
It's
and
MLS,
it just happened that
Tyler.
way.
I mean,
I
I
don't
feel
know.
like some of the rules are just made up.
Yeah. Well, look at what NYCFC did.
There's a
They
draft
traded stuff that doesn't
priority,
even exist.
whatever. I don't know.
So yeah,
Weird.
I know people. I think we're asking about it in the chat as well. It might have been Bubbles. But yeah, like I don't know. I don't have an answer. And me, Doug, Joe and Sam from Five Strike Final, Henry Higuita from Dirty South Soccer. Like we were all there trying to figure this out, and none of us have gotten really an answer yet.
Let me know when you do.
Yeah, we don't know.
I think it has to do with salary. Like they have to pick up a part of the salary.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I think it has to do something with that. I saw someone post something, and it was at least a website that explained the U22, and I'm pretty sure it has to do something with them paying a part of the salary, and I don't think either one of them were doing that. But it seems like we're okay.
Yeah.
We'll be in an okay position. Garth Lagerway actually talked about that when he was on and said, that he also brought it up on there, and he said, we still have roster flexibility. So as long as Almada wants to stay here, because his goal still is that he talked about was keep Almada as long as we want.
Yeah.
If there's no official offers, let's keep him. As long as he doesn't become disgruntled, I think that keep him as long as you want.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
I am worried about him becoming disgruntled at some point, and I feel like the summer it might be it. If he might getting frustrated, but like if there's legit no offers, then there's legit no offers. Like I don't know what.
I'm excited you're saying that too, because there's so many little things like with Almada and with some of the other stuff that we've hit on so far that Tom hit on as well. So not only are you getting our three opinions on it, but you're also going to get Tom's, and Tom, he's the transfer guy. So if there's somebody to listen to about it, it's him.
Yeah, we'll get to him shortly. No, I was just gonna say, I was just gonna tease the interview. That's all.
Oh, there you go.
You already did it for me.
Great minds.
Thank you.
Bocanegra. Bocanegra said they wanted Dax McCarty not only due to his leadership. He actually kind of not downplayed the leadership aspect, but he said, it wasn't so much the leadership. He brings that. That's a bonus. It's an intangible that he brings, but also you're getting a guy that's been consistent playing like 1,400, 1,500 minutes over the past 3-4 years each. So you're getting a guy that's, he's not just a bench piece. He's a guy that, he was the heart and soul of Nashville for a while.
Yeah, and again, just real quick, Nashville. He wanted to go back to Nashville, but apparently they had different plans, and here he is in Atlanta. So just sort of out there again. I mentioned that earlier, but
all right, who do we have on international duty currently? Who is missing at the training ground?
Wiley and Almada are with their international teams. Wiley playing against Slovenia on Saturday, and Almada has played with the Argentina international or Olympic team, I should say. Against their sub-23s, essentially. I forget who they're playing. I have to look it up, but they're both away. And then Mosquera had a muscle injury, so he had to come back from Colombia's camp. So that's the situation with national teams at this point in time. No word on how serious it is, whether it's a quote-unquote muscle issue or just board precautionary thing by Colombia's international staff. But that's where we stay right now with international players at international duties at this point in time. So Wiley and Almada, of course, will be back with the team next week or whenever their international duties end. Wiley is certainly next week because the match is on Saturday against Slovenia for the U.S. and then Almada whenever those get wrapped up with Argentina.
Yep.
Yeah, and with Mosquera, think of it in a positive way because that's what we're trying to do today. This gives him a little bit more time to deal with getting his green card, right?
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
I'll take it.
Because if he was away, he wouldn't be able to be doing that at the moment. Now he's able to get that handled.
Yeah, that is a good point. All right, so as we queue up the interview with Tom, that is next. Tom Bogert chatted not very long ago with us within the past 2 hours. So everything is fresh. All of his opinions are fresh. And he had some good information, some really cool information. While we're getting that ready, quick reminder of the Top Golf event that's going on next Thursday. I'm trying to put together a team. I need some Avengers. I need some people to come and jump on this team with me and go play some Top Golf.
Avengers Unite.
Yeah, let's go. If you want to be on the team, you know how to contact me. Hit me up. We'll get everybody on the team. It's a team of 6. So let me know. It's for a good cause. It's to raise money to build a mini pitch down in Henry County, in McDonough, Georgia, Metro Atlanta. And yeah, we want you. We want you to come be a part of it. So please be a part of it. And with that, the Giakoumakis giveaway is soon. Reminder that we are doing a giveaway next week. We'll tell y'all how to enter later for a 17s kit as well to get you all hyped and ready for the Birmingham preseason match. But got a lot going on.
All right. The new kit. Everybody keeps talking about it in the chat. There's no leaks yet. I check DHgate every day.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to get the leak somewhere.
I'm trying to find if it ends up being that green jersey.
If you find it, Tommy, leak it. Well, don't leak it. If you find it, just let us know privately.
No, I'll leak it. We're gonna leak it. I'll leak it.
Fine. We ready for the interview?
Let's go. Tom Bogert, y'all. Welcome in, everybody. It is Tyler Pilgrim here, Sydney, alongside Tom Bogert, the famous mustachioed deal maker, deal breaker, whatever you want to call him.
The Woj of MLS.
Yeah. Tom, what's going on, man?
Sham Sharani of MLS, whoever you.
Yeah, I'm certainly not making any deals. Breaking them, though, for sure. What's going on? You guys looking good? Sydney, the beard's looking righteous, man. It looks beautiful. I'm very jealous. I have the mustache, and obviously Tyler, you too. All looks good.
Trying to get a sponsor going here at some point. Something, I don't know. So, Tom, we'll dive right into it because I know you were like incredibly busy. I'm assuming this is your busiest time of the year, right?
Yeah. In terms of just like during the day, just like the more like obviously more and more news and stuff to break, but like the difference between like now and the season is at least like I can break news at night and stuff too, but at least it's not like all right, just was up whatever from the moment I woke up to the evening of like chasing sources and talking to people. Oh no, RSL is playing Houston at 8 p.m. and I feel like I need to watch, right? Like so like it's obviously crazy busy, but it feels more manageable in that like, oh no, like there's not 3 games on tonight that I have to watch from 6 until midnight. So there's that. That's just how I'm rationalizing in my head.
Hey, I bet it makes sense. It's good rationalization. I get it.
I do miss the games. I want to be clear that we all do this because we love watching soccer and being pro soccer, but I will say the first round of the playoffs broke me. They really did because 1/3 of the league was in the offseason and 2/3 of the league were playing best of 3 round 1 series that took 3 weeks. And there was a game every single day. And there was off-season stuff every single day. That broke me. That absolutely killed me. That was tough.
And now we're ready to do it all over again. All right. So just obviously we're mostly an Atlanta podcast. We've kind of evolved a little bit, I think, into more MLS overall stuff, but obviously with the stuff behind me,
I couldn't tell.
What are your overall thoughts? Because it's been busy for Atlanta this season, but what's been your overall thoughts on the offseason?
Really, really great. It has the potential to be legitimately perfect. Like I don't throw that around lightly, and I don't throw that around just because I'm on a predominantly Atlanta podcast or an Atlanta show. Look, like what they've done, like going into the offseason, my kind of analysis was, like this is the best spot that this group has been in, like potentially since they won MLS Cup in 2018, because there's just been so many problems since then in terms of obviously Miguel Marón left, and Almada has been the actual replacement for him several years later. There's been the Joseph Martinez injury and then ups and downs, Frank de Boer, different head coaches, all of this. You could look down the roster and be like, Jürgen Damm, that's way too much money, or Emerson Heinemann, or you could just look at the team and be like, oh, Marcelino Moreno is probably a pretty good player, but he makes absolutely no sense next to Barco or Pitti or then Almada and whatever, right? Like it was just very quickly to be, there's a lot of talent, but hey, these are all the problems. This team, the cap sheet is really, really healthy right now. The top end talent is there because Thiago Almada is one of the very best players in the league. Giorgos Giakoumakis should be a favorite for Golden Boot or among the favorites every year that he's in the league. And those two players complement each other so well. Saba Lobajanice, Jean De Silva, phenomenal complementary pieces to that starting duo in attack. Tristan Miyumba, such an important, great signing in the summer. And then this winter, they go out and bring in Bartosic. I'm probably not even pronouncing the name right still. I think we got a little bit of time to figure that out. I was hoping one of you guys was going to say it before I did, and I could just
you got it. Slish. Close enough.
But he's a ball winning midfielder And players like that make the game for the people around them so much easier. He's going to make the game so much easier for Muyumba, who can defend in his own right, but now Muyumba gets to a little bit more freedom. More so, it gives Thiago Almada even more freedom than he already had, which is maximum. Caleb Wiley and Brooks Lennon are phenomenal going forward. Particularly Brooks Lennon, he struggles a bit defending. When you have this double pivot that really defends and covers ground, that lets the wingbacks and fullbacks get forward even more. So it accentuates their strengths rather than in other iterations of this team, the players didn't complement each other like this. They kind of brought out the worst of each other. Like, oh, all the same players want the ball in the same spaces, so it makes it difficult for everybody. Now you have Lobogenice is more vertical. Jean De Silva is more vertical. That gives Thiago Almada a lot more space underneath. Now with Cease shielding the defense, the back line and winning the ball and doing everything he does that he will do. Again, we'll see. Maybe he sucks. I think he's going to be very good, but I guess we don't know until we see it.
Don't say that.
I think Gregerson is going to be a really good signing too. And like the people I've talked to about him, like Orlando wanted him, and they were like, "Damn, like Atlanta got a good player, right?" Like if he's whatever 85% of what Miles Robinson was for this team, they're going to be fine. Like I think Josh Cohen's going to be an upgrade over Brad Guzan if he does indeed start. Like you just look up and down this team. They're deep at every position as well. Like, obviously, if Almada or Giakoumakis gets injured, then there's going to be a problem. But, hey, if Messi gets injured, there's problems for Miami. If Hani Mukhtar gets injured, there's problems for Nashville, right? Yep. Like, so it is what it is. This is as good as, like, you could realistically expect for the first, what's it been, 13 months under Garth Lagerwey, 14 months under Garth Lagerwey running the show?
Yeah.
That all can change if and when Thiago Almada leaves. But for right now, they have done absolutely everything perfect.
So, I mean, sounds like you're very high on this winter window for Atlanta United. And, the three of us, I know Tommy isn't here, but the three of us are kind of, Tommy, Tyler, and I, we're very high on it as well. Just from your vantage point, any holes that still need to be filled for Atlanta or anything that's missing that they need to add? I know Carlos said that there's one player coming, but what's your vantage point? Do they need it or anything that they need to do?
Yeah, I mean, right now, no. And personally, I like obviously they know much better than me of what they see day in and day out as preseason starting. But for me, I wouldn't use whatever at like salary cap or allocation, whatever spots that they still have open, I wouldn't use right now because again, like they might need to focus it all on a center back because maybe Abram isn't the right partner for Gregerson, or an offer comes in for Caleb Wiley and all of a sudden you need a left back, right? Like the biggest hole, and so that's why for me I would probably hold as it is right now because they're pretty much too deep in every position. Outside of that, like they have cover everywhere. Like again, Lobogenice can play through the center if and when Thiago Almada can't go. The biggest, I guess, looming hole would be again if and when Thiago Almada leaves, and I'm expecting that to be this calendar year. Mm-hmm. If not now, then the summer, and probably more likely the summer. But again, it depends on if and when that offer comes. They're able to bring in a senior DP, which has been the MO of Garth Lagerwey in the past, like Nico Ladero, Raul Ruiz Diaz. You kind of go down the line. That's been the preference. And having a senior DP as a number 10 has a much higher success rate than a young DP, just in terms of a win now type of team. So I'm dead certain that they have their list. They have their options of what they will do when Thiago Almada is sold. So that's the only air quote hole, and it's not a hole yet because he's not gone yet, right? Like so that still has to be the primary focus because if Thiago Almada leaves and the right replacement doesn't come in, the same way that say the Crew won MLS Cup because they were able to sell Lucas Orion and bring in Diego Rossi 48 hours later. If they didn't do that, they don't win an MLS Cup, right? Yeah. Like so, Atlanta has to be ready for that.
It's funny you bring that up because I think the past 3 shows I've brought that same analogy up. I'm like, look, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world if Almada does go in the middle of the season. It happens. Columbus did it and it worked. Hopefully you can recreate that as Atlanta, but we'll see. Speaking of Almada, because I know, around the league, he kind of gets so much attention, but Atletico Madrid was kind of the most recent one. And then I think you had reported on some other ones that had kind of popped up, but like, what's the latest in terms of the Almada saga that you've kind of heard?
Yeah, nothing. And it's been a whole lot of nothing. And like, I just feel like I'm repeating myself over and over again because the stance is again, this is obviously a huge deal, very important, but it's simple in that Atlanta's stance is we're not pushing him out the door. We're not going to keep him against his will either. But like we can still just make him be the senior DP next year or whatever he ages out of the young DP. And like, that's something that they're genuine about, but it's not like they're going to hold him against his will. If no bid comes in, or no bid that's good enough comes in, then he'll stay. But if, again, something around the 30 million valuation comes in, then he'll go, right? Like, and there's only however many teams in the world that could realistically do that and would realistically be a fit for Thiago Almada. So that's kind of just where it is. It's a numbers game. There's not like 100 teams out there that could be making this deal. Atletico Madrid makes sense. I would be a little wary just of how many kind of expensive attacking players have gone there and withered away. Under Diego Simeone, you have to be a specific kind of player. But like, if he's excited about it, I could see that happening. And they would have the money if they sell Angel Correa. I haven't looked up the latest on if that deal has happened or not yet. So that's one to look at. But again, like, I still assume that it's more likely to happen in the summer just because the market's going to be more robust and more teams are going to know exactly what they need and have more openings. And it'll be a better situation for Thiago Almada himself to walk into, where he gets a full preseason with a new team.
But do Atlanta, and we'll move on in a second, but I just want to follow up real quick. Do Atlanta run the risk of alienating Almada if they wait for that quote-unquote perfect number? Because the sense is that he's going to be sold for a record number in MLS. It's the risk of them, or is there a risk of them saying, we're just waiting for that perfect number, and that he just gets impatient and it has an adverse effect on his play on the field? Do you worry about that, or?
Yeah, I think that's a fair concern, but Atlanta can say, like, look, we haven't gotten a bid yet. I don't know what to say. We can't accept anything if nothing comes. And like, I think like the stuff with Ajax, it was never like their sporting director talking to Bocanegra or Lago. It never got serious. There was like a couple back channel, like, hey, maybe we could get him for 15 million. And Atlanta, like, the message was gotten back to them just like, yeah, are you kidding me? Like, you know what I mean? So like that, I don't like, it's not like Almada's a rational enough person. Like, I know that he's ready to go to Europe, but like, he understands that wouldn't be enough right? Like, enough money, right? Like, so like, until that there gets, like, if they were to reject, like, that, it would get tricky if, let's say, they reject 24, 25 million, something that's like probably below their valuation. And again, this isn't like a sticker price in a store. I don't like the 30 million isn't hard and fast. It's just what I expect based on talking to sources. But if they were to decline like a way, then like you like, then we'll see what would happen if like that could really have an impact on Thiago. But like, as it is right now, it's not like that they're rejecting bids left, right, and center because there just hasn't been in.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the main talking points. That's not the main talking point for Atlanta United, at least off the field to an extent. So we talked about incoming players. Let's talk about outgoing players. Actually, before we do that, I actually want to take a look at the league as a whole, just around MLS. So when you look at the transfers that have happened currently and the transfers that are kind of in the pipeline from you talking to your sources, what's really surprised you, and which ones are the ones that have just really stood out to you or have been notable in your eyes? Yeah,
a lot of what Colorado Rapids have done. I knew from just talking to sources that like they knew pretty early, or like, midway through the season last year, like, oh man, like we don't have it right. Like we need to rebuild. We need to change everything. Obviously they made the difficult decision to part ways with Robin Fraser. They're bringing a new head coach and Chris Armas this winter. I kept on getting the line back to me of just like, we're really good. This is unacceptable. What we were last year, all this. And it's just like, yeah, every team says that, right? But the fact that the day one of preseason, they had signed Zach Steffen, Omir Fernandez, and a club record deal for Giorgio Mihailovic, and they're about to officially sign Sam Vines, that's 4 new starters. 3 of like really high level players, right? Like, again, Giorgio Mihailovic was a best 11 caliber player when he left MLS. Zach Steffen has had injuries and has his form dipped since he left. But the last time he was here, he was a goalkeeper of the year. Sam Vines, same thing. He was one of the brightest young talents leaving, and now he's coming back in 24 as like somebody on the fringes of the national team. Like, they had some of the most work to do just because of how bad that kind of rust, how bad everything was around that team. But they have done so well this offseason, and not just so well this offseason, but the fact that all of that work is done day one of preseason. The only thing they have left is to sign a defensive midfielder. And like, again, maybe they suck again, right? Like who knows? Like maybe the roster just still isn't good enough. But like, for me, this looks like a really, really solid team. It looks a whole lot more like their 2021 team than it does their 2023 team, like their first versus their last, right? Like, so again, there's variance here. Maybe Rafael Navarro, who like isn't good enough at center forward, and they need to still find a new center forward, or maybe it takes Giorgio Mihailovic a little bit to get up to speed as like a chief chance creator again. But like, I think that all these moves on paper, with the age profiles, with the past performance in MLS, I think that there's a very high floor to what this team is going to be. And the Western Conference is weaker than the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
I think on paper that was one of the biggest ones that just stands out to me every time I get on Twitter or X, whatever we're calling it nowadays. It just stands out. It's huge because it almost seems like you can see when a team just decides to finally take things seriously. Not that in the past, but they're putting their best foot forward. And it's awesome to see. I still hope the West isn't as good as the Eastern Conference this year, but
I don't think you have any worries about that. I was doing like honest to God, I think the 8 best teams in the league, 7 of them are in the East, like pretty comfortably.
Yeah,
like that. But who knows? We'll see how it plays out.
Well, speaking of one of the best, last year Cincinnati was big, and an Atlanta podcast. People, I think, more curious now about the Miles move.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts about Miles Robinson to Cincinnati and kind of how everything played out and how his contract ended up there?
Yeah. My assumption for a while was that he was either going to re-sign in Atlanta for a DP deal, which I felt really strongly about, that Atlanta was not going to offer him, or he was going to go to Europe. So that was kind of my expectation.
Yeah, us too.
And then, and then started to hear like his camp wasn't thrilled with Atlanta put their offer on the table a year ago, and they were like, "This is the most we can offer," and I'm pretty sure it was the max TAM. So it really was the most that they could offer if they weren't going to give a DP deal. And apparently his camp weren't thrilled that it was, hey, this is our offer, take it or leave it. But I don't know. I don't think that it was really done like that by Atlanta. It is what it is. Sometimes these relationships kind of end. On the positive Cincy side, again, I think the world of Miles Robinson. I think that the year that he, what was that, 22 when he tore his ACL.
Right.
Going into that season, I had him as defender of the year. I was like, this is the best center back in the league. Him and Zimmerman. I still think he's in that top 3, top 5, whatever it is. I think that he's honestly going to be a little bit better in Cincy. I think that his profile and his strengths are going to be accentuated just in their playing style more than Atlanta. And again, this is just splitting hairs because I thought he's very good in Atlanta. Last year wasn't his best year, but it was his first after a long-term injury. He's going to play that Yerson Mosquera role, and he's just a better version of Yerson Mosquera. He's going to just get to kind of hunt and roam and win the ball, and his athleticism and his ability to understand space and positioning is going to be so key. And in that, he'll have less duties on the ball. He won't be asked to be building out of the back as much. It'll be more simplistic in terms of on the ball, and his strengths are his athleticism, his IQ defensively, and his ball winning, and all of that is going to be accentuated in Cincy. So part of it too is that he I know that went into it. I know that the play style and the idea of, all right, if I'm leaving Atlanta, a lot of other teams in the league were interested. He wasn't taking meetings with all the other teams in the league. It was all right, if I stay in MLS, it's going to be one of these handful of teams. And since he was obviously top of that list, and you look at just all the players that have come through there that have not that have developed incredibly. Wilfred Nancy and Columbus currently have that crown of everybody has a career year play for Wilfred Nancy. But look at Cincinnati and all of these players like Vazquez and Lucho Acosta, even he was a class player, but MVP in the system. The defenders Nick Hagelin went from oh my God, is this an MLS level player to, oh, he's a starting level player in this team. You kind of go on down the line. Robinson looks at that and goes, okay, I should get better too if I go there, right? And then that's probably why the deal is a 1+1 rather than a 4-year deal.
And he'll be alongside Miazga, which I don't know. I think to me that was one of the maybe the unsung notes of this whole saga is, I think to your point as well, if you're going to go somewhere for a short amount of time, because I don't think Europe is closed for him. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't know.
No.
But yeah, you want to go somewhere where you have another very, very solid defender right next to you. And I mean, he'll be missing the first 2 games of the season or whatever, but it's a different story. I do think, I know it's all coming back now. I think it's great for him. I do think it's great for Miles. I hope he sucks when he plays Atlanta, but other than that,
what do you think the reaction is going to be from the fans the first time he's back in Atlanta wearing a Cincy jersey?
Oh, they'll cheer for him. 100%. Yeah.
Thought so too, but I didn't know if the fans were upset about how the exit was.
No, I don't know of any player that Atlanta's lost. Even on weird terms that the fans have just kind of been no, right. Every time Gressel comes back, they still chant WrestleMania and clap for him and everything, so.
Well, that one was Gressel should have been Atlanta effed that one up for me. He should still be in Atlanta, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's a sore subject.
So you put out your power rankings of MLS on your YouTube channel, I believe. So it's sort of the top tier. You had Miami in their big four, which reminds me of another team who had a big X number. Columbus, the defending champions, of course, and Cincinnati, the shield holders. So they're in kind of that top tier that you had. So Almada, and we talked about him a little bit earlier, your expectations of Almada. If there's a chance, and it may be small, but if there's a chance he stays for the entire season, can Atlanta kind of get into that top tier with him and the incoming players?
100%. 100%. Again, like going back to what I was saying before, with this 11 looked really, really good. And like, I believe it'd be disingenuous to put any team that isn't, again, like Miami are a special case because they have, again, 4 of the best players in their positions of their generation, or in Messi's case, of all time. But Columbus and Cincy won trophies last year, and they're returning a lot of their core. They have to be, those 3 teams have to be separated. Like it'd be, you can't have other teams with questions and other teams that like, oh, this looks good, we'll see what it looks like. Like that's just not fair to, like, if you want to reward stuff that actually happened on the field. That next year, Atlanta, like, man, if Greg, like, the reason why they're not in the top tier is because I'm going to list off the ifs. And all of these, I think, are reasonable that will end up positive. If Almada is here for a long time, or if the senior DB that comes in for Almada hits the ground running. If Gregerson is as good as scouts tell me he is, and same thing with Bartosz, like, those are 3 ifs. They're not outlandish. It's not like if our young player goes from pretty good to elite. It's not if we do this, or like, those are realistic things, but it's just that, like, we haven't seen 2 of those players in MLS, and we don't know when Thiago Almada is going to leave. So again, like, they are absolutely like right on the outskirts of that. And in a couple months, and if we get to the summer and Almada's still here, and maybe it looks like he's staying, like, this could be, again, one of the top tier of apex contenders in the league.
So kind of branching off of that, let's say Almada does go, which is kind of the expectation, and maybe a few of those things that you hit on do happen. Where does Atlanta kind of end up?
Oof. Now that's a little bit more difficult, just because this league, man, right? Like, you never know.
Yes.
But like, so this is a cop out, but I'll answer in that, like, the team is built, I think, both for regular season success and playoff success. Because playoff success, you need the top end talent and you need to be solid defensively. And again, there's still the ifs there with Gregerson and Cohen and what the defensive unit looks like. But they have plenty to be foundationally strong and solid, and then they have the top end talent to just go win you a game when things get kind of congested. It's why, you know, those Red Bulls team has struggled. It's why St. Louis struggled in the playoffs last year. And you kind of go on down the line, it's like these star players really win out in the playoffs. And in the regular season, depth and consistency and players in their prime or rising players is what kind of wins out, and they have that too. So again, there's just lots, like, there's a lot of variance, right? Like, again, some of the ifs that I laid out, maybe they don't turn out right. Maybe Almada goes and the replacement doesn't come immediately, or the replacement doesn't get going immediately, and all of a sudden this team looks pretty average in a really strong Eastern Conference. So there's definitely a lot of variance here, but like, they're one of the few teams in the league, probably one of the, honestly, the 5 or 6 that if you say, hey, if everything goes right, they could be like a favorite to win MLS Cup. Not just, they can. It's like they would be a favorite if everything goes right.
Yeah.
So, all right, this is a little bit of a hypothetical, but it's kind of overarching for the entire league, because I think you've got the break with Copa America. Well, not the break, but you've got Copa America. You've got the Olympics. You have obviously the Leagues Cup. You have obviously all the international breaks. Atlanta is rather international heavy. But how do you see Atlanta kind of coping with that, with the depth that they do have? Because a lot of people, I think, have looked at the depth is pretty solid until you get to like the fullback position, because you have Lennon on the right, you have Wiley on the left, and you have Ronald Hernandez who can kind of play both, and then Aiden McFadden kind of hanging out, But do you see other teams looking at this year maybe in a little bit of a different light in terms of depth, because of how many different competitions and things are going on for international play?
Yeah, for sure. Because like, again, that's going to make it difficult for Miami to challenge for the Shield, and like a team like Atlanta too. Like, again, if like that's a lot of time for a lot of players to miss. Again, like, obviously we would need to be more specific about when we get there and what the table looks like and everything else. But like these teams that have their key player, like again, Hani Mukhtar isn't going to miss any time at international, dude.
Right.
International.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're a shield contender, but that would set a team up like that very well. And like you kind of go down the list, like there are teams that are going to slightly benefit kind of on the outskirts of this, and there are teams like Atlanta and Miami off the top of my head. Portland are another one who are going to struggle with Copa and the Olympics and everything else that kind of come and when you're playing through them. So yeah, depth is going to be an issue. Fullback, I think that's a good one to look at. Center back as well, but maybe not as much of a concern as long as everybody stays healthy. But yeah, like I'm sure that they're going to use the first half of the season as well with a real strong eye on Atlanta United too, to say, okay, like who might be ready to midseason to be promoted to the first team, because we're going to need more bodies on the bench and picking up some minutes.
Sweet. Well, Tom, I want to be obviously sensitive of your time. I know you're busy. One quick final thing that's totally unrelated to transfers and all that good stuff. I have family in New Jersey, but if we find ourselves up in Jersey, that area, where do we need to go eat?
New York City.
Always New York City.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I want to stay out of New York
I'm
City.
kidding.
I live in Bradley Beach, so I'm down the shore. Anything, there's a lot of places in Asbury and Bradley. Near and dear to my heart, though, is Darcy's Tavern. I think I'm actually wearing a sweatshirt right now.
Hey,
Nice.
That's in Bradley Beach. It's a
you go.
soccer bar around here. The food is excellent as well, but just the atmosphere combined with the food, the good prices and the good clientele. You usually see me kind of hanging out at the bar somewhere there. So that's Darcy's Tavern in Bradley Beach, New Jersey. That's 100%.
If I'm ever up there, I may swing by.
Please
Do
do,
we
let
ask
me
for
know.
do we ask for the Tom Bogert special when we get there? Or
If you say something to a bartender by my name, they'll say, "Do you mean Bogey Senior or Bogey Junior?" Because my dad plays on the Darcy's FC soccer team.
gotcha.
But I
Gotcha.
promise you that 85% of the bartenders and staff would know who I am. So
Nice.
anybody who goes there, say my name and see what they say.
Yeah.
Hopefully that rings true for me.
Right.
now we know where to go.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, if you're down in Atlanta for a game, we'll be there. We'll be up in the press box. So let us know.
Cool.
We'll take you out to a similar tavern. And
Awesome. I'm long
and-
overdue. I got to get down.
That works. Yeah,
Nice.
we'll be there. So thanks again, Tom. It's been great. Welcome back anytime, man. We appreciate it.
Cheers, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Tom. Cheers.
Tom Bogert, everybody. It is always good hearing from Tom because the dude
Bogey
knows
Jr.
what's junior. It's specified. He knows everything about transfers. It's wild. So just quick shout out to Tom. We appreciate it.
No, that was great. I said I couldn't be with you guys, and one of the things that I was listening to his new YouTube show, right?
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting because he did a power rankings for the, before the season and currently where teams were, and we are in the second tier, with about 5 other teams, but the top tier is. Can you guess the 3 teams are in the top tier?
I'm gonna say Miami, Columbus, and Cincinnati.
Bam! You watched it, you liar! Don't act like you didn't watch it.
I did the interview. So. Try to trip me up, Tommy.
I know.
Time to get him.
I was paying attention. I promise.
When you have that tier, I think Atlanta can be in there, right? But like we've talked about, obviously it comes down to health, right? And every league that you have, whether it's the NFL, the NHL, it's usually a copycat league. And are we kind of a copy of what Columbus was last year in a way? Like, we scored a ton of goals. Columbus scored a ton of goals. Yeah, they allowed a lot of goals in the regular season, but they slowed down. They didn't allow as many, right, in the playoffs. They were able to get it together, but they were deeper in the midfield. Like, Aidan McFadden and Nagby were a great combination, right? Like, those two really worked. And now your midfield is just so much deeper, right?
You talking about Aiden
Of what you have. I'm sorry?
You talking about Aiden Morris?
Aiden Morris, sorry, McFadden, sorry.
I was like, wait a
All
minute,
the
where we
Aidens.
going with this one?
all the Aidens, yeah.
I got you.
But yeah, like you have Aiden Morris. Like now we're deeper in the midfield. We could score a ton of goals. We've kept everybody that we had last year that was scoring. I don't know. I think that as long as you can get to the playoffs, and long as somebody doesn't get a red card on decision day,
Right.
I think you're in good shape.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, and Tom said it. There are a lot of variables, unknown variables that kind of have to fall into place. And you guys know I'm a glass half full kind of person. At least mostly. Tommy, you're gonna call me out on it, probably. Yeah, I know. I knew you were gonna say that. But yeah, kind of bring it back to Almada. Kind of to talk about him. And we said it before the interview, and we obviously asked Tom about it. Does Almada get disgruntled if the deal he wants and his agent wants by extension doesn't come through? And yeah, some of the chatter I've seen on social media saying, hey, if he doesn't get the deal he wants and he sees it as him being dragged out, his situation being dragged out when he wants to go to Europe, will he not perform on the field? And I think Tom had a good point around Almada understanding that it's a business, and that when the right offer comes along, he'll be sent to Europe. Well, sold to Europe, I should say. And I like that he believes that the club has his best interest at heart, which is kind of the gist of what Tom was saying, and I think I agree with that. So hopefully it doesn't happen, but I don't blame fans for having that thought in their mind that Atlanta's just going to hold on to Almada too long and he's going to become disgruntled. So I certainly understand both schools of thought. I like to think that we'll see the positive aspect of it, and he'll go to Europe with a deal that benefits both him and the club. So that's good that he touched on that during the interview, whether that be Atleti or whoever.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay. I when Almada was on ESPN and he threw that out there that he wanted to go to Europe, I'm sure his agent said, make sure you make that comment. Like, get it out there to the clubs, right? Make those offers. I mean, that's just you working you, right?
Yeah.
You don't.
I want to go.
If you don't mention it and just be like, yeah, I love being in MLS. Like that's I would love to be here for another 3 years. Like you don't say that. His goal is what it is. He was very honest. Yeah. He wasn't being a jerk about it. So as long as that doesn't happen, I think that you're okay.
Yeah.
But man, guys, that we were playing the interview, the chat was it somehow turned into Gressel versus Brooks Lennon.
I know. We're gonna have to separate Bo and Colonel in the chat. Man.
We need to put them into Call of Duty and just let them play for a couple hours, get all their anger out. Oh man, I mean, there were some strong opinions. It wasn't just those two. Everybody was hopping in. I got some strong opinions here,
which is good. That's why we do the show. We want to hear from every side. Everybody's got an opinion.
Brooks Lennon's butter.
Doesn't take away from the fact that it is still a sore subject, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, exactly. I'll take Brooks right now over Gressel. That's no hate on Gressel at all. But the way that he left, like, I was going to kind of have that little bit of like what could have been, had he stayed. So it'll be.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. All right, so I see in the chat. We're gonna get to the giveaway. Look, the giveaway.
We're getting there.
It's on its way. All right, it's right here. It's gonna happen. We're gonna have another giveaway next week. For not this one, but for a 17s kit. So it's gonna be very similar entries to how we did this one. So just keep an eye on social media. But it'll get you a 17s kit of your size to rep at the Birmingham game, maybe, or one of the other preseason games, which is the next thing we got to talk about because the preseason schedule dropped.
It's out.
So, really quick, I'm gonna get y'all's insight, but really quick, in case you don't know yet, January 27th, we've known about this one for a minute. Birmingham Legion last played Birmingham in the preseason anyway. That's the famous Mateus Rossetto goal. Everybody was like, it's gonna be great. That was in 2020.
2020. I was just about to ask you. That was 2020.
Yeah, 2020. So
we all know what happened later that year.
Yeah, God, please.
Never mind.
Moving
on.
What happened?
Shut up.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah.
Birmingham, Alabama. Tickets, I think they're all on sale now. You can go to Birmingham Legion's website, and that'll be a fun time because their stadium. I've never been, but I've seen it. I've heard
Productive
lots of great
stadium,
things
yeah.
about it. Beautiful. Bo is our resident expert on Birmingham Legion. But I've heard it's great. So go check that out. February 3rd versus our old friends Memphis 901 and
The
Stephen
Stephen Glass
Glass.
Derby.
Yeah, the Derby again. In case you don't remember, Memphis 901 bounced Atlanta United out of the Open Cup last year.
Oh, now you remember what happened there.
Remember
Okay.
that?
It was more recent. It was more recent. I should have long-term memory issues.
Did you mention
That's
that's in
gonna be
Athens, by the way?
Athens, Georgia.
Right.
So that's going to be let's see, it was 2 years ago that Atlanta, I think was it the Georgia Revolution that they played?
I think so.
Out
That
in
sounds
Athens?
familiar. Yeah.
So that'll be at 3 p.m. on February 3rd. Then they go not to Mexico. They go to Florida, going to play 2 matches at Along Stadium in technically St. Petersburg? It's not actually in Tampa. It's close
Tampa
enough.
Bay.
Yeah.
That's the Tampa Bay region.
First one, February 7th versus Montreal, 4 p.m. That one's closed to the public, but you'll get streaming. February 10th versus the Tampa Bay Rowdies. It's their stadium, 3 p.m. That's also going to be streamed. Those 2 streams are going to be from those clubs, so I'm sure they'll announce it closer. Hopefully it won't be like the one from last year down in Mexico because that was awful.
Yeah.
And then they go down to Fort Lauderdale, finally, on the 17th for a fully closed match against Sporting Kansas City. So there's your preseason games. What y'all think?
Oh, yeah. Season's almost here.
It's
That's
almost
what I
here.
think. It's preseason.
Preseason.
Yeah.
Just don't get hurt. I don't
Nope.
care what happens.
Don't get hurt and don't overreact, fans. that's my advice to the team. Don't
That's
get
the
hurt.
advice.
Yeah.
Don't overreact.
Yeah, exactly. That can be used in
So-
a lot of different situations. Yes, Tommy.
So the first 2 are on YouTube, right? So I'm curious if they'll lock it down for people in the area again.
Well,
I hope not.
presumably, but we'll see. Because I know you're in Ohio, and they're a Lafayette State fan, so we'll see what happens with that.
I don't know. I just don't think that they do. I mean, I have no insight into
We'll
this.
see.
I think it's silly to close it. You just put it on the streaming and go with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Right.
We shall see.
we'll see. Yeah. I wish they'd opened the ones up in Tampa though, because that stadium is really cool and it's right on the
Yeah.
ocean. I hate that they're. I mean, I get it. It's Tampa Bay Rowdy Stadium. I feel like they could have a pretty good turnout playing against Atlanta, but I don't know. So
Oh.
that's well.
Premature.
We are about to
Premature.
give away the kit soon.
Teaser.
Just a couple minutes.
Just
So yeah,
testing.
that's your preseason schedule though. Nothing. I don't know. Nothing revolutionary, but it's coming. And don't overreact. That's the big thing.
Yes.
Please don't overreact, guys. And yes, don't get injured.
Guzan
No.
allows like a goal on the first shot. He's gone. He's gone.
This is it.
Retire.
Anyone already had
Retire.
an MVP preseason?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Somebody
Don't
posted.
overreact.
Yeah, we got to give a shout out to Henry. He did a great article at Dirty South Soccer of getting a little bit of everybody's contributions on what they thought that where Atlanta United was going to finish in Supporter Shield, the Eastern Conference, Leagues Cup. Check it out.
Yep. Henry got some good stuff. I actually wrote that, and then he also has a really good article about like the expectations you're mentioning, Scarves and Spikes. He's got the kid's interning well.
He's
I'm just
everywhere.
saying. He's everywhere.
Knock it out of the park.
All right.
Doing a hell of a job.
He's doing the Lord's work for sure.
Yes, he is.
Tweets of the week.
Tweet of the week.
What do we have? Look at that. That's so cool.
Want me
That's
to
a fancy thing.
I can introduce it if you'd like.
Yeah, let's go.
Rob Esri from Dirty South Soccer. You guys know who he is. He tweeted out Atlanta United's X drip is through the roof this season. Atlanta United tweeted out on Monday photos of players arriving at training at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. You had Giakoumakis in the skinny jeans with a leather jacket. You had Saba with the sunglasses and I have to check what brand of shirt this is.
Yeah, it was
Acne
weird.
Studios.
I'm literally going back to find it because it was weird.
It's Acne Studios or something like that. And
Yeah,
you have
what is that?
William Ba wearing the Burberry coat. I mean, the drip is off the chart, and if the drip is off the chart, hopefully the play on the field is off the chart. And Rob Usry again saying Atlanta United X drip is through the roof this season. I 100% agree. And that is the tweet of the week.
I like all the
Man.
comments about Saba being compared to like Jason Bourne or you know, like 007 or somebody.
Yeah.
He's getting a look. Like he looks like he's gonna come in and handle business.
Yeah, he does. Hopefully he handles business in 2024.
Yeah. Tommy.
This Acne Studios is like a paycheck for like a pair of jeans.
Oh yeah. I believe it. Well,
I can't afford
it.
anything.
He can afford it on his salary.
It's
so.
$800 for a pair of pants. That's 2
Good
Xboxes.
grief. I
Yeah.
know.
2 Xboxes.
That's crazy.
That's half of rent for some people.
That's ridiculous.
Insane.
How
But,
many times are
yes.
you gonna wear it? Speaking of
Well,
clothing,
you got Jim Harbaugh wearing like pants from Walmart that are like $9.99.
good for him.
Yeah.
He's living thrifty.
Right.
Uncle Dave saying, speaking of clothing, Tommy looking like he's coming live from 8 Mile.
Yeah, Tommy
his
has
look over
the.
past 2 weeks.
Is that a CM Punk hoodie you got there?
It is a CM Punk hoodie, yeah. It's cold. It's cold in Ohio, man. Cold down in the basement.
Can you
Yeah,
freestyle?
I see you whining. You know, I see Tyler and Henry on their video that they posted, and they're shaking. What is it, 40 degrees by you?
I
Shut
know.
up. It was 19 that day.
Henry without his
19.
coat.
And windy.
They canceled school here in Ohio because it was negative 15.
They canceled school
school
here
in
because it was like
Georgia
19.
because of pretty much the same reason.
You wusses.
Well,
Atlanta's got PTSD from the cold. Okay?
yes.
Atlanta's got PTSD from the cold.
It's crazy. I have a coworker that lives in Nashville, and she said because they didn't salt everything okay at the airport, a plane I guess slid into another plane while it was landing.
Wow.
Screw
That's-
that.
They
Scary.
canceled like all the
Screw
flights.
that.
At
Yeah.
least the door didn't fall off midair. Alaska Airlines. There goes our sponsorship.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Look,
I
that's
wouldn't
cool.
want to be on that plane.
We'll be all right.
Um,
All
Are
right.
we ready for the wheel of
So-
names?
We are. So
got a giveaway.
here it is.
You have
Here's
the
your
ball in your hands. The
Uh,
soccer ball in your
Ooh, I'm
hands.
getting this mirror image thing is getting me. All right. There is Giakoumakis' signature. And just so
It
you
is
know, I didn't
legit.
grab a Sharpie. Here's your certificate of
Certificate
authenticity.
authenticity.
Ooh, fancy.
Atlanta United. So,
Let's
Thank
do
you,
it.
Atlanta United. We appreciate it.
Daniel,
Yes,
we got you.
absolutely.
We got you, buddy.
Absolutely.
We got you. So, the names are added. Doing it again next week for a kit as well. So be sure to come back and do it all over again. Without further ado,
Let's do
let's
it.
go.
Who is going to win a Giorgos Giakoumakis signed soccer ball?
Look, I put a
Look
soccer
at all
ball
of
on
the
it.
names, dude.
Yes, you did.
That's
There's names on there. I made it fancy this
Yes.
time.
I like it.
All
That's
right.
pretty cool.
You can spin the wheel.
Just chill out, man.
I know, like building the hype.
We've been doing this for an hour and 23 minutes. What's an extra 30 seconds? And the names are too small. I can't read.
Who you got? Jordan Comer.
Jordan Comer. Congratulations.
Jordan.
There you go. Awesome. Woo! We need like a clapping sound.
Well
so
done,
this doesn't
Jordan.
Sound like 3 guys clapping on a podcast.
Jordan will
Um,
reach out to you to
Yes.
get you your prize.
Courtesy of Atlanta United and Giorgos Giakoumakis. But thank you for real for everybody. This isn't the only one. Like we said, we're doing the kit, but we're also going to be doing a lot more of this stuff throughout the season. So, I mean, if you didn't win this time, that's fine. If your name's not Jordan Comer and you didn't win this time, come back next week, do it all over again,
Stay tuned.
and it'll be throughout the season very soon beyond just what's next week as well. So, we want to get you guys back also to listen to us speak. We know you guys like free stuff too, though. So we appreciate it, and we
Love free
appreciate
stuff.
y'all coming. It's been good.
Yeah, it's been a
Yeah,
great
join
year.
the-
Go ahead, Tommy.
Well, so yeah, join our Patreon, man. we'll be doing some stuff on there. We'll be doing some contests. We gave away tickets last year to our Patreon, which was a fun thing that we had. It was like last minute, nobody could go.
Yeah.
But we gave away tickets. We did a bunch of fun things. Maybe we'll give away some merch. Join. We're having a lot of fun there. Should be a fun year, right?
Yeah,
like I think we had expectations last year, and maybe some of them weren't realistic, but now the expectations are high, right?
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff going on.
Positive show.
Yeah.
Lots of
positive show.
Is this the best you felt since right before kickoff against Nashville in 2020?
I say yes.
I will say almost. I just have to see.
Almost. What? I said the best since then. When else did you feel better after that game?
I mean, there were some high moments where I was like, "Oh, Atlanta United's back," and then they weren't. You know,
It was when Jurgen Damm stole that goal in the U.S. Open Cup. You were like, "We're back, baby. We're back."
we're winning it all. Here we go. I'm close.
Don't lie. There was no time you ever felt that good. Was it that 3-0 loss against Austin and our 16-hour spaces afterwards?
Right.
That was terrible. At least it was in 2023. Okay, 2023 had some high moments. Beating Nashville 4-0 was fire. Okay,
pretty high.
That was good. That was a good day. But I need it to be consistent, and then I'll feel like I did at the end of 2019. So
The best I've felt since 2020, I know
Wow.
we're trying to end this, was at that Miami game.
that was good.
I know that Messi wasn't there, but it felt like that entire stadium filled,
Mm-hmm.
and you had so many people there that wanted to root for Messi, but he didn't show. And then it was like a turn, right? It was like all the heels there, which were all the Miami fans, wrestling terms here. They all just turned and they were like, you know what? We're back. Atlanta United's back. And you had 70,000 people cheering on Atlanta United. Everybody was scoring goals in that game. Oof.
Yeah.
That was a day.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. And you also
Preseason.
hurt a kid's feelings.
Yeah.
You did. That was a good
I
day.
love preseason.
Not because of that, but it was a good day.
Yeah.
I threw up afterwards. It was a great day.
You did.
Oh.
Jay, yeah, you missed the tutorial on the proper pronunciation of slish. There it is. Slish. Make sure you're subscribed. Go subscribe on YouTube. Y'all have done amazing things for our numbers.
Yes,
this
so
ball
much.
has done amazing things for our numbers.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
100% appreciate it. We're trying to build this thing up as organically as possible. You know, we want y'all to come back, not just for the free stuff. We want y'all to come back and get your news from us and enjoy hanging out with us and have fun. Go join the Patreon because we have a lot of fun in there. We do a lot of fun stuff,
Yep.
like Tommy and Sydney were saying. We got merch over on our website, scarvesandspikes.com. You'll see a link to the website or to the store.
Yep.
What am I missing? And we'll wrap it up.
That's it, I think.
I think that's it. All right, cool. Well, it has been real, guys. Happy anniversary and congratulations.
I don't hear you anymore.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Our music is acting up.
what I
We're
left
just gonna
that
have
on.
to do it.
So congrats, happy anniversary. Hit it.
Hold on. Let's make
Oh.
sure it works.
It's a remix.
There we go.
There we go.
I can hear you.
We gotta have our after credit scene.
I don't know what happened.
We're in preseason. It's okay.
Yeah.
We're just again, don't take too much from preseason, guys.
Don't overreact.
Travis, yes. Whatever I said,
get
it was
hurt.
absolutely heartfelt. 100%. It came from deep down in my soul.
You know how I know we're still in preseason? When I ran down to get ready for this, I forgot to put pants on. I've had no pants on this entire show, and I didn't even realize it.
Well, this is a great time to tell everybody also Facebook. No pants for Tommy. Facebook.
we gotta get pants on the store.
Ah, that's good. Hey, look at that plug.
Sorry if I weirded you out, everybody. My bad.
See you next time, everyone.
See y'all.
Bring your pants.